Okay, we are now recording. Hello, Ishai.
Hello, Avi.
So we are doing a series of these one-on-one conversations um, because we felt that the big break was made in a very unique way, and everyone involved has a very unique story to tell, a very unique relationship to me, very unique relationship to filmmaking in general. So you are certainly the most established person who working on this film in the industry. So I think that perspective has will certainly offer some interesting insight. So maybe just first talk about a little bit how you got into filmmaking. Um, like was there a movie that did it in childhood? Because you are a bit old. Hey, that's my mom's hand coming in.
Yep. I am in my mom's office. It's filming right now. Yes, you're in.
Um, so like, you certainly influenced me, I imagine. I was like, you're like 6 to 7, 6.5 years older than me. So there was obviously an influence there, but you must have gotten into filmmaking before me. Um, was there like a film? Was it like do you recall like what when you decided you wanted to pursue?
Started it. I actually think it was our mother showing me like old Hitchcock movies and stuff like that that I hadn't really had exposure to, and that started a bit of an interest. I mean, to go back a little bit more, I was really obsessed with wrestling. If you remember, with WWF, now WWE wrestling, and up until I was about 13, like I was super into that. And in retrospect, I think it was the storytelling aspect of it that I loved. The good guy, the bad guy, the soap opera, the drama of it all. And luckily, I think it like that was kind of I was waning on the way that they were telling those stories. It was kind of getting a little, I don't know, it was kind of changing in the way that they were doing that. And it was around the same time that I started seeing these older movies that mom was showing me. And so I think that those two things collided uh, and yeah, and I just started watching a lot of movies and that sort of wrestling obsession turned into a movie obsession. Uh, and
Yeah.
and then yeah, to the point where yeah, in high school, throughout high school, I had a friend who we would make little short films together. Um, he had a camera that would let you mute the audio and something, but you could lay music over something. You could lay any audio over a picture. You could like go into the camera, play back, and it would just record over whatever audio is there. So we would just turn up like loud film score music in our bedroom and play it. And that would record it onto the camera, and you could make like an action sequence that you would shoot. You would edit it in camera. You would shoot it bit by piece, and then I'd just lay in like the Mission Impossible music over it. And
You had to shoot
that,
chronologically though, right?
yeah, do
'Cause
chronologically.
for me, the
Yeah.
introduction to editing was the Dazzle. Do you remember that? I feel
Nope.
like I must have been like a teenager as a VHS-C camcorder, and the very
Yes.
first way I was able to edit was through something called the Dazzle. I forget exactly how it worked, but like that was my first piece of
And
equipment that allowed me to edit. What like when were
I
you
used two VHS decks. We had two VHS decks, and so I would like
wow.
play on one, record on the other, but there would often be like 2 seconds of blue in
Yeah.
between the edits. And there was really nothing you could do about it. So it was a little unprofessional. But really it was just so I was doing all those films and it was like it was we weren't the most popular kids, not you and me, but me and my friends and so we would on Friday and Saturday night we would like I'd get the camera, I'd have an idea of like, oh, let's make a spoof of a spelling bee or a spoof of an exercise video or a spoof, and it was just a bunch of high school kids trying to make each other laugh
Yeah.
uh, and that was really the extent. And then we did some more extended, like little movies for school and stuff that felt like they had more of a story and a plot. And yeah,
Yeah, that's a very similar
yeah,
progression as to what I was doing in middle school and high school. I probably had a little bit of an early start because of you,
yeah.
because because of that influence.
What was the first thing you shot? Do you remember?
Um, I mean, it must have been with you, I would
Yeah.
imagine. Like Dr. Jovalid and that type of stuff. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
first stuff definitely would have been you involving me in things that I think I probably used for like school projects. Um,
Right. I mean, that was always the fun excuse, like way to into it was like suddenly teachers were like, "Oh yeah, you can shoot something instead of writing a paper," and so it was
yeah,
like,
but I
"Oh,
had my brother who's 7 years older than me helping me and making it look like
right,
it's my own work. So I think I looked a lot more experienced and professional than I was as like a 10-year-old. Uh,
right,
that probably was the first stuff for me. I really remember it by cameras, like that VHS-C camcorder that was like my first real camera. And that's the stuff where I started making like movies with friends in like middle school. We grew up on, I think that when I went to middle school, it was Orfield Middle School, and you went to a different one.
Spring
But
County." Yep.
the house that we grew up in was right down the street on a highway, though, from the middle school I went to. So after school, sometimes there would just be like a line of like 15 kids because I would like gather as many people as I could, and we would walk on a highway, like on the side of the road, a bunch of like 14-year-olds. And there was a little shop that used to be like a almost like a Goodwill shop, like used clothing store, and we would stop there. It was called Some of This, Some of That.
Uh-huh.
We would buy like props and out costumes,
Yeah.
and then we would uh, go to our house and we would
Yeah.
shoot movies there. That was the first. I don't have any of them, but that was where it started. And then the big change for me was in high school. I got the Canon XL1S, and I was like, oh,
Right.
this is like that's when I really started taking it seriously.
Yeah, that
Um,
was in high school. I remember when you got that. That was a big deal.
yeah, it was
When
huge.
camera. Yeah, it was like,
Huge personally, but also huge at the time. Like that
yeah.
first like interchangeable lens, prosumer camera or consumer camera. Steven
Yep.
Soderbergh even I think shot a feature on it. It was like,
Full frontal, I believe,
was it? Was it
what it was called.
some videotape or no?
I think so. It was there was like that period of like that's when yeah, DV movies were there was like a few of these like edgy stories that were being shot on DV.
Well, like
Um,
it was the '90s was like the revolution of indie like
yeah.
cinema. Was
Yeah.
that like were you experiencing that?
Yes, I mean that's what I mean. I will say also. So what also happened to make me want to pursue filmmaking was that I just so happened to kind of be in high school when sort of the Sundance like the movies that came out when I was in high school were like it's like Run Lola Run and Train Spotting and Pulp Fiction and the whole Tarantino thing. Like Reservoir Dogs was on video, you could find it, but like Hard Eight and I don't know. There's just like all these like auteur directors were like having their beginnings at this time. Kevin Smith,
Yeah.
like so it was like it seemed like a path
Yeah.
that maybe you could pursue then also. It was just like all these filmmakers were kind of coming out of nowhere and making these cool movies and um but yeah, Pulp Fiction was the one that really influenced me the most. That was I saw it. I remember seeing it 9 times in the theater, like
Oh well.
over the different theaters, like as it kind of went from the main theater to the slightly less first run to the like discount and um yeah.
Yeah, and I got a lot of that inspiration from you. I have funny anecdotes where like
Yeah.
I think mom and dad didn't let me watch Pulp Fiction right away, but they let me watch Jackie Brown.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, and then I watched Pulp Fiction like a couple years later. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the right censoring method. Uh,
Right.
But I remember that, I took over your room when you went to college, and like there was that giant Tarantino poster.
That's right. I did have
But I think
holding him up to me. Yeah.
this might be like a huge, huge jump, but this is very much, I think, going to be like a theme in these conversations, and something that like I've been talking about a lot with the rest of the cast and the crew, which is just like, um, and I've been seeing more recently on like forums. I know like Ted Hope right now on Substack is sort of leading this like movement called like non-dependent films, and people are writing like manifestos, and a lot of people are saying that maybe this is the 90s coming back. You are very much in the industry, and if anyone has like insight into this, I think it would be you. So just for
Yeah.
those who don't know, Ishai went on to direct three feature films, The Big Bad Swim, 3 Days of Normal, and The Kitchen, and is now a professional editor in the industry. You've won an Emmy. You've like worked on a ton of TV shows. Taylor Sheridan, all of his a bunch of his shows, and uh,
Yeah.
the one with Terrence Howard,
Yeah.
Empire,
Empire.
and like yeah. So you've been editing a lot. So you are very much living the LA uh, uh, industry life as a professional editor. Do you feel like there might be some new
I
voices?
hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. I mean, uh, unfortunately, like maybe I'm like too in that world sometimes to even know, but I am hopeful. I mean, and it seemed like for a while when like Netflix started streaming, they were really pursuing a lot of like festival films, and it seemed like, oh, this might be a way that independent films get a bigger reach and have, more access to everybody. But I don't feel like that really panned out, or if it did pan out, it was very brief, and it's now that feels like it's changed, like I don't. It seems like what succeeds in streaming now is what succeeds in movie theaters, which is like bigger, bigger spectacle and bigger stars and bigger things. So, but that said, I don't know that like the desire for independent voices or independent films has ever gone away. I don't think it has.
yeah,
I think just resources, it doesn't make sense maybe for Netflix to make $100,000, $100,000 movies, even though I think that makes a lot of sense. But I don't think it makes sense to them because they just would rather make I don't know, $100 million big movie with stars and IP, and it's just like a big thing that they can, tap Gilmore 2, or it's like, a bunch of indie films. And for them to attract subscribers, I think it's just a matter of getting the big thing. But I don't know. I think there's a real opportunity for that, and I think people want to see it. And I think it's a little harder to find sometimes now. I don't know if like young people are, totally seeking out independent films. Like that's that's what I'm curious about. Like, are teenagers today
yeah.
going to see like going to a theater to watch an indie film? Would they? What would get them to go?
Yeah, I mean there's clearly like things are changing. We are seeing like many more streaming services like and ones that like Mubi that are embracing like
Yeah.
independent films. Tubi and Prime are now like go-tos for people to like kind of self-distribute. Um,
Hmm.
Sean Baker like sweeping the Oscars is clearly
Crazy. Yeah.
sign that like there is still an interest. But Sean Baker and maybe like the Safdie brothers or something like they're very sparse, but there's um like Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson are still making their movies, which I think shows that like that those voices are still in demand. What's I think missing is new voices coming, but I think they are starting to emerge
Yeah.
in weird ways, and I feel like right now. just the ones that I hear about, um, I think like Sean Baker and the Safdie brothers might be two exceptions of like they've really carved out kind of what
The Daniels too. Like,
Daniels, yeah. Um, um, but here and there, like I feel like some interesting examples are like Hundreds of Beavers. I don't know if you've
yeah,
seen that.
I
Um,
haven't. But
did
yes,
not get
I'm
into
aware
like
of it. Yeah.
yeah, didn't get into any like top tier festivals. I think it went to like Fantasia Fest, like a good festival, but
Yeah.
uh, got rejected from like Sundance and all the big ones. And then they just did a huge marketing campaign and they self they kept theatrical rights,
Yeah.
even though they're selling their streaming rights. Did their own self theatrical distribution, poured a ton of money into like marketing through
Mhm.
word of mouth and social media, caught on, and it's now become like a kind of cult classic. Um, Another
Yeah, I
one,
heard they're still doing like college screenings of that movie now, and it's you can take that window can last a really long time if you take it on like a roadshow kind of thing.
yeah, and like another example is like a movie called Dinner in America. I don't know if you've seen it. One of my favorite movies of the last decade.
No.
Like came out in 2019, and it wasn't until like 4 years later that Red Letter Media, the online critics, like did a sort of episode about it, and then
Uh-huh.
like it spiked in rentals, and it's
Is
now
that the like Bob Odenkirk movie?
no, no,
That's a
it's
different. Oh, okay. I don't know this
how to
one.
pronounce the director's last name. It's like Adam Ramir. He did
Okay.
Snack Shack recently.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good, but Dinner America is like a really like just fantastic movie that just
Okay.
nobody heard of, and then it was like for me a kind of revelation that like oh this movie was made for like but so I think what I'm trying to say is I feel like we're seeing these movies, but there's no way to. I think the festival circuit is kind of broken, and nobody knows how to navigate this like streaming world. And so that to me is, I
Yeah.
think,
And that mix with there's like such a huge new like cinephile culture
yeah,
with YouTube and podcasts and all that, where there's like, and a lot of that attention I think goes to these older auteur filmmakers, but it's really cool to see. Like, I love seeing like in LA, the Criterion, they had like the mobile Criterion closet would come to Eagle Rock, and it's like it shows up at 9 a.m., but by 8:50 they've like sold out the slots for the entire day or whatever. It's like um
but
so
you're
there's
in
like
LA.
yes, it is in LA, but it's also but like you were telling me, like the Emmaus Theater and near
Yes,
us here, like we'll do these like retrospective type movies, and like they'll sell hundreds of tickets. Like there is a demand for this kind of like
yeah.
just for movies in general and communal experiences, seeing stuff in movie theaters. Like that whole like idea that movie theaters are dead or whatever is like I like you hear Netflix people say that. Like I think that's ridiculous. Like if you make something that is experienced in a shared setting, like people will want to go see it. It's just
Yeah,
a great.
I feel like just the distribution model hasn't quite someone hasn't figured it out yet. And I think there's efforts now like which is something that we're doing with our movie is
Yeah.
we're you know eh, if this doesn't work out, we will probably try the festival path. But right now what
Yeah.
we're planning to do is launch this collaborative effort that Tubi is doing with Kickstarter, where they do a campaign and they give a bit of money and have a 3 month exclusivity streaming deal. And I wouldn't have even considered this a few years ago, but now I feel like this is really like a really smart.
Totally. I mean,
Yeah,
all independent filmmakers want is to get their movies to people, That's all I ever, when we went to festivals, that's all you want is like to show the movie to people, there's not a whole lot else, but now there's like this whole infrastructure that you could capitalize on better. If you are in festivals, there's probably a better way to like showcase it to people, showcase the movies to people and get publicity from a screening, wherever you are. And then, but yeah, streaming is, yes, that'd be, anyway, point it, yes, Tubi has a lot of people subscribe to it or can go to it. And yeah, so the movie gets out there.
yeah, but it's a monolith, and there's classics and blockbusters on there. And so
Yeah.
they don't really like it's hard to find movies can get very lost on there. There's also no
Right.
ad-free tier, which like for
Yeah.
cinephiles, I think is a very disturbing notion that you can't watch a movie
Yeah.
without ads. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope uh more efforts are brought into this. Yeah, I don't know. I guess like I'd be curious to like I feel like I from the outside,
Yeah.
I lived in LA 10, 15 years ago. It's been a while, but you've been out there for a long time. Um, does it feel different? Like the I think the things I hear is that's like, oh, nobody's filming or nobody like no all these people are having trouble finding work, but at the same time there's so much being made by these streaming companies that I don't something doesn't add up
Yeah.
from the outside perspective.
I mean, yeah, in terms of like the business, it I think had a peak maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and now that has come down. So there, even though there's still maybe versus 10 years ago, there's still a lot of shows and movies being made. Uh, Compared to 2 years ago, it's a lot less. So there's just been a drop off of the quantity of things. Therefore, a lot of people are out of work. And it has been a weird time. And I think there also reached a point with like there was a moment where like all these streaming services were coming out trying to compete with Netflix, and so they were like throwing money at like just making as much as possible to try to get people to sign up for Peacock and Disney Plus and Paramount Plus. And then, a certain I don't know what happened exactly, but they reached a point where they were like, okay, now we have to be profitable, and so they started like pulling back on everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
but
I,
it,
I
yeah.
feel like viewer demand though has not dropped, and that's what like it's only increased.
No, at all. Yeah. And
Something
you see, I mean, look I mean, YouTube also is like the other thing to
that's
mention. Right.
my big question actually is going back to this like are young people interested in new voices and indie film?
Right.
Is it is it actually just that YouTube is replacing that? That's the one thing that I think
I think possibly.
they may already yeah is you
Yeah.
is short form like the 90s indie revolution for the younger generation.
Right. I mean, I have a 16-year-old daughter,
Yeah.
14-year-old son, and they watch a lot of YouTube. And uh like my son also likes movies. He likes both things. But my daughter really like she'll watch movies, but she's not like into movies that much. And that could just be her age and whatever, and she hasn't had the exposure to the right things yet. But I do keep trying. She made it halfway through Social Network.
Have you seen
But she
them?
watches long, hours long YouTube videos or people playing games and just talking over them or whatever. Like, yeah,
But there's an auteur element to it. I remember talking to your
totally.
daughter,
Yeah.
and I put on a YouTube video, and she was uh, like, I love this guy. Like, I watch all of his
Yeah,
stuff, and so it's like there is,
totally.
uh,
And if that guy like made a movie, she would watch that for sure.
yeah, that's a good
You
point.
know?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just,
I haven't seen it. There's a movie that just came out called Sorry Baby. This Eva Victor, who's like an online, I believe, an online personality, and made a movie sort of from that. It was at Sundance this year. I think A24 just released it, but that's supposed to be good. Yeah.
has your older son, uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to just
Give names.
but like around his age, I feel like I I think you actually got me the Rushmore DVD when it came out, and
Uh-huh.
and that was huge for me. Wes Anderson was a big one for
That
me.
was a big one. Yeah.
Like, is he getting into like I guess you would call it like any auteurs?
Not really. He's still like Marvel and the big Spider-Man movies and like he loves that kind of stuff. I did show him Whiplash because he plays the drums, so I showed him Whiplash last week.
Yeah.
Uh, and he watched it all, and he was like, "This is a really weird movie." That was basically what I got out of him. Like, it's
That's
really weird.
but that's the bet. Here, the quick anecdote for
Yeah,
me is you took me to a screening of my favorite film of all
yeah,
time. I don't
yeah,
remember how old I was. I must have been about like 15 or 16. And I think it was at the Walter Reed Theater, and they were doing a
yeah,
retrospective of like film shot in a specific very wide format. I forget the exact
yeah,
format. And we saw you took me to see a double feature of McCabe and Mrs. Miller and Pierre LeFou. And
yeah,
I remember seeing Pierre LeFou was the first Godard film I'd ever seen. And I just remember like exactly that. Like that was weird. It's like I didn't
yeah,
not like it. I didn't, I knew, but I also didn't really like it. And then two
yeah,
years later, it became one of my favorite films of all time. And I fell
yeah.
in love with Godard and like it just, so I don't know. I think maybe the initial reaction of it being weird is maybe a good thing because
I think so. Yeah.
it just takes a couple of years for that to like,
To process. Yeah. Yeah, because it's an exposure to something totally new that you didn't even I mean, that movie, which I hadn't watched in a while,
you know,
like J.K. Simmons is unhinged in that movie. It is out of control. It's an amazing performance, but it is like bonkers, like just how crazy he is. And it's great. But yeah, it's also he's like it might be like he's been taking drum lessons for like 3 months. So it was like it's like a big leap between what he's doing and the sort of whatever Miles Teller's level of drumming.
yeah,
Uh,
it's been
but
wild.
what a double feature that was. Both of those movies are amazing.
I can't believe we
Uh,
saw that like in a at Walter
New
Reed.
York Film Festival.
It was part of New York Film Festival, maybe.
I think it was part of New York Film Festival, and I think it was like probably like all as a I was probably at NYU at the time, and it's probably all I could get tickets to.
Yeah,
Uh,
makes sense.
and And I have a memory. I don't know if this was on the way out, but I have a memory that maybe About Schmidt was
Yes,
premiering
it was the open.
after it, and we saw like Jack Nicholson
Yes,
walking in, who
who
was like your favorite actor.
was a child actor, and
Yeah,
because of Jack Nicholson, and
yeah, yeah.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was my favorite movie when I was 12 years old. You and I and our mom went on semester at sea.
Uh-huh.
You were a college student, mom was a professor, and I was like the 12-year-old child of a professor who was friends with all the college students. And there was like 10 of us kids, and we had filled out like forms of like what like about us. And
Yeah.
I remember mine's favorite movie was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I just remember all the college students just thinking like how funny that was. Um,
Uh, how did you see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? What made you want to act? Because you acted, for those that don't know,
yes.
you
Well,
started out wanting to be an actor. Uh,
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I think you obviously and mom. Well, I mean, your love for film certainly like must have sort of seeped in and
yeah,
probably at an age when I don't even remember. Um, and I just had so much exposure to good movies from you. And then I know mom and I. This was a very very big moment for me. Was we spent a summer when the AFI Top
oh
100
yeah,
American films came out, there's a local library here that had like a section with them, and they had like 70 to 80 of them, and we spent that summer watching like as many of
that's
them
awesome.
again. So like I don't know how old I would have been. I think you were probably out of the house, so
Yeah.
it would have been at least like 14, 15. Um, yeah, I don't, no, maybe I would have, I don't, no, I would have been. No, what am I saying? No, because I would have been before semester C. So I would have been like 11, 12. Because
Hmm.
you were already in college by the time I was 12.
Yeah.
So it was like around then. And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was on that list. And so by the time I was like 12 or 13, I had already seen what were considered like all the great American films.
Yeah.
So from then on, it was like just from 15 to 18, I started going into all the foreign classics. And really just I had a very like extensive knowledge of film by the time I was like 18, because of that, because of you guys giving me that spark. And
Yeah.
I think I knew I loved movies from a very young age, and it was so young that the only thing I understood were like, uh, when you're young and you watch a movie, what you connect with are the actors. Like you don't,
Mhm.
that's the first thing that you see. It's
Right.
what you respond to as a child. And yeah, I mean that I didn't even know what a director was probably when I was getting into movies. So to me, acting was just this is what it means to be a part of a movie. And then as I got older, also, I mean, your influence was so extensive in that I would say the big moment that I kind of shifted from actor to filmmaker was when you helped me get into uh, I guess we can talk about this now, but you helped me get like a free ride into New York Film Academy at Princeton. Um,
I don't even remember.
you remember this? Oh,
No.
your old roommate, our friend, uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
friend,
We won't implicate him. Yeah.
great family friend. He helped me as well.
Yeah.
He was like teaching there, and they were like, as long as you pay for the film
Okay.
slot, you can attend.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Academy for free. I was like 13 or 14 years old, and I went to Princeton for a summer and shot on 16 millimeter film and used the Steam Deck and
That's the best.
with when I
Yeah.
understood filmmaking. And it was like that, I think, was the moment where I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
what making a movie is. And so that there was a slow transition there from like still loved acting, but I realized what I really wanted to do was make movies.
Yeah. That program was so good. Yes, it was
Objectively.
the best. Every summer during NYU, I worked at the New York Film Academy at Princeton and yeah, as like a TA kind of. But yeah, we would always, you're helping all these kids make movies. They love like it was just kids who love film and they're shooting on film stock and editing on Steam Deck. And yeah, it was such a great uh just a great place to be.
Yeah.
Great like film energy.
You were at Film Academy for a while though. Yeah, we both went to Tisch. I
Yeah.
think I was the last year maybe that got to edit on Steam Decks, or at least where it was like required. So I think shooting on film and editing on a Steam Deck was like it's a very good experience to have if you want to
Oh, totally.
really understand the process. Um, so you directed 3 films and you're now a professional editor. Um,
Yeah,
like how does that sit with you? Do you still want to direct? Do you?
I do.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always try to balance the two things and yeah, and actually even since I made the movies is when I never got in the DGA from directing my independent films. I got in from directing Empire and
oh yeah, that's
uh and doing like second unit directing for like some of this has been my latest way to like get a little directing experience. This is the whole thing with directing. It's like it's the best. I love it. It's what I want to do, but it's really hard to practice it. It's hard to get experience with it because you have to assemble this giant sort of enterprise in order to do it. Uh and so yeah, so I'm always like now I try to do some second unit directing. So I've done that for a Netflix movie that for Purple Hearts that I worked on. I did second unit directing on that, and one of Taylor Sheridan's upcoming shows I did some second unit for. Um, and that's like a really fun experience. It's different. It's not like the main thing, but it is a practice. It's you're shooting a stunt scene or some horses or whatever it is, but you're shooting specific things. But editing really, I mean, I cannot. I'm excited to like direct something again now that I've been editing for so long because I think it really, exactly, you just learned so much about the pieces that you need to build something. And that knowledge, that would just be exciting to do something now. I feel like I would be much, much better now than I ever was before.
um,
Yeah.
I feel like that's almost why I left LA was that I didn't see a path to like writing and direct. Like it's not a ladder you can climb, but I feel like you are somehow navigating that in a way that it can't. You must be doing this. It must not be something you see frequently.
I mean, it does happen. There are people who move up from, I would say, from like cinematographer to directing and from editor to directing, or like two, and writers and direct, like those are like, and actors as well. But like those sort of positions kind of can work your way up. I mean, TV shows are a good way to work your way up because something like Empire was, I was able to get an opportunity to direct there, but only because it went on for 5 seasons, I think 6 seasons. But it was like, each year you can kind of get a little more experience, get a little more foot in the door. It's like you learn the show, the tone, the actor, the thing, the crew. You get to learn the world. And
How,
so then like you're part of a family, so then you can kind of have that opportunity.
how do you pitch yourself as a, well, I guess you had directed films in the past, which I imagine helped.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
And then I was doing like directing programs and stuff. I was in this ABC Disney directing program and
so if
yeah.
someone is an editor and they wanted to get into directing, they would need experience directing as like previously to show, most likely.
Yeah, what a lot of people do that want to make that jump is they'll be editors, then they'll go and they'll make a short film
Yeah.
that sort of shows their abilities and what they're capable of and in a certain tone. I mean, that's probably the biggest difference that for me is that they always want you in TV to be like, are you comedy or are you drama? And I'm like, I like both, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I like Alexander Payne. I like human comedies, you know? I like that t style of
I
storytelling. But yeah,
I've it's been I describe The Big Break as a tragic comedy. Um,
yeah,
and I very like much love that term. Like it's just the
yeah,
perfect way to describe this. And I'm surprised that it's just not a more commonly used term.
yeah. I like that one. I like human. Alexander Payne said it once, like, and that's why I copied it. Like that Sideways, I think it was Sideways or something was like a human comedy instead of a dramedy. And I much prefer that term.
Yeah,
But
drama
yeah,
feels like a was I remember that term being around a lot.
yeah.
I,
So what made you want to do Big Break?
yeah,
Where did that come from?
yeah, and I'm curious what you thought of it because it must have been very interesting for you from your perspective to be like, oh, okay, so I wrote my first feature script, I think, when I was like 16, which was like terrible. But all right, so you took me to Sundance in 2005.
Yeah,
Um, another like, so many these moments for me. Uh,
we had awesome access that it was very cool.
but yeah, you like
Because we
really
were with we were with the Dan who
you
was
are.
friends with knew the publisher of Premiere Magazine,
What's
and
that?
that was the guy who got us into like all these events and things. It
Yeah,
was
we
so
had the
fun.
absolute like
Yeah,
nonstop Sundance experience, like 3, 4 movies a day, like crazy parties, and I'm 18 years old, and it's just
yeah,
like uh that might have been one of the quintessential moments of like my life,
yeah.
and I've always romanticized the festival circuit because of that, and I think that I've had a lot of trouble grappling kind of
That's not everyone's experience.
but also just that it's changed a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I think
um
it has.
I don't think it I
But
think
also, even when I've gone with my own movies, it's not like that. You know, it's like it's not on that level either.
yes, that
Um,
was just one of the most fun weeks of my
yeah.
life. um uh I you know what I think, yeah, I know after that I was then like I saw, we saw all these movies, and I remember so many of it. It was like Hustle and Flow, Squid and the Whale, right? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
um uh I know
The
40
chum
Shades
scrubber
of
for
Blue,
some reason.
Thumbsucker was another one.
Yeah, yeah.
um the Crispin Glover had a movie that was very funny there.
That was a weird one. Yeah.
I know the one that won I think the main award was Ira Sachs' film, the 40
Oh,
40 Shades of
was
Blue.
it? Yeah, something like that. Shades of blue. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, was 40, am I mixing up with 40 Shades of Grey? Is that it's the Shades of Grey? I know it's not
I'll,
that.
I'll look it
Uh,
up.
but that, yeah, I remember really liking that movie. Yeah, there were so many like we saw the premiere of Squid and the Whale, we saw the premiere of Hustle and Flow, and I don't think but there were also like all these other movies that uh
It is 40 Shades of Blue, by the way.
this for sure. Okay. Um there were a lot of great movies and there were a lot of like movies I liked and I really just remember like I think we saw 20 I actually remember this. I think we saw 21 movies and I forget
Uh-huh.
how many days. And I remember you and I made a list of like we ranked them all and like compared
Uh-huh.
um and I remember predicting 40 Shades of Blue was going to win. I think I was the only one in our like in our house that
That
predicted.
predicted. Yeah.
Um, but I remember coming out of that and being like, you know what? I think I can write something like this.
Hmm.
It actually like there were a lot of movies that just I was like, oh, this is like I could do this. So that's I think I really where I really picked up writing. And
Yeah.
as you know, like over the course like probably from like the ages 18 to 30, I pretty much wrote every single day of my life. Um,
Yeah.
when I have full-time jobs, I just always found time to write. And I,
Yeah.
I probably wrote at least a dozen, if not like 15 feature-length scripts over the course of like 10,
Yeah.
12 years. You've read them all.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I don't, but I never like was trying to sell them. I never knew what to do with them. I didn't really know what I was doing. And also we could talk about the script we wrote together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, there, that was I feel like there was a moment too where we were like, maybe we could be like the Coen brothers.
Do that.
And
Yeah.
we went to Cancun and wrote a script that like, I mean, you got in like you had a meeting at like Fox, I think, and I feel like
Yeah. It got to some places, but never quite
yeah,
finished the
script.
thing. But also, but that comes from that sort of like what you're talking about not knowing. It was me not knowing. I had moved out to LA. I had my first movie was done, and people were like asking what's next, and I had nothing. I was like, I just put all my energy into this last movie. I don't, you tell me what's next. Like, which is like the number one mistake. And I didn't know. And I was 26, 27, whatever it was. Like, I just didn't know really what to say or do in these meetings too. And I definitely was probably not instilling confidence in the producers and executives. Um, but yeah, but anyway, yes, we wrote Ira Horowitz takes his family on vacation and gets a mild sunburn.
I imagine that title, which was
It
I would
was,
probably immediately turn them off. But
yeah, it's
it's a great
possible.
script. We should revisit it one of these days.
Yeah,
But that was fun, and like I just read all these like crazy scripts. Like, uh, I was just I feel like I was getting my 10,000 hours in,
yeah,
um, and then I like stopped writing for a while at like 30. I worked I went back to grad school. I worked in academia for a little while, then worked in tech for a little while in VR, and then a few years ago. Uh, it's actually like 5 years ago. I think I was like, I'm gonna write a novel. That started, and I was like slowly getting back into screenwriting. I was scared because
yeah,
I had spent so much time writing, and none of it ever like um, paid. I guess
right.
I never
Yeah.
got like external validation for it, um,
Uh-huh.
and so I was like almost scared to revisit that dynamic.
Yeah.
So eventually I got to a point where I was like, all right, if I write a script, the only way I'm going to do it is if I am 100% sure I'm going to make it. So the way I got to the big break was if I put originally it's supposed to be three people in a room because
Yeah.
Alan was originally I didn't know it was going to be played by a human. So originally it was just like put three people in a house. And I can find three people. They don't even have to be actors, and they're two of my four actors have never acted before, and one of them had given up on acting. So there's really only one professional actor of the four actors in the movie. Um, but yeah, the idea was just like get three people. I have camera equipment. If I can get like a house and just write a script where like it's three people in a house for 90 minutes, like can I make that interesting? So I tried that. I wrote the first 10 pages and I was like, you know what? I like this. I like this. This is
Yeah.
working. I'm going to finish it. And I finished it and um, I was like, you know, this is better than anything I had written. Like,
Hmm.
I think I was scared that I would have lost the groove or like what,
Yeah.
yeah, the ability to write. But the irony was that I think that like 7 year hiatus was like sort of necessary. And I realized that like I put my hours in and like it suddenly paid off in like a really
Hmm.
great way. It was very, very fulfilling for me. And I got really excited. And yeah, then I basically put the movie together and uh, we shot it. And while we were shooting it, uh, can't tell you how many times we're like, just like the hair is my, we're like standing up, or it's just like, not only is this like working out, but this is like I was doing this more for like I knew I had to make a movie because I've been telling myself I would my whole life. Um, but there were moments where I was just like, this is better. So much, this is working out so much better than I thought it would. Like the actors really, their chemistry on set was just like I was like shocked, honestly. And yeah, I don't know. I felt really, really good about it. And so now, we filmed a year ago, and if I had planned on editing it myself, um, and I think just because I got that feeling, everyone on set got that feeling. It was just clearly like something special was happening, and I got that validation when I started like searching for a post-production team, and the fact that I
Right.
found so many talented people who, I didn't have any budget, so everyone was working for equity, and all these
Yeah.
people were like wanting to be a part of it and finding um, something special about it as well. And so that gave me the validation to push through, which is why I've been working on post-production for the past 9 months, and you've been a very
Here
helpful
we
advisor
here we
throughout
are.
this.
Yeah.
And
But yeah, I'm excited to see. Look, I saw the first cut and it was very exciting and fun and smart and touching. And so yeah, I'm excited to see what the editing team is doing with it right now. And but yeah, it is amazing. And talking about that, what is it, non-dependent cinema?
yeah,
Or
I know this is like the term that the Ted Hope Substack
yeah,
community is termed. I don't know exactly what
he's the
they,
one. He dictates what. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know
But
what
that I think that proves to me that it's alive and well a little. Is if people are still, that like gives me hope that like people are still willing to make these things for nothing and do it and passion, you know.
hopefully it's not nothing. They have equity. And
No,
so
yeah, 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 no, but I mean nothing up front,
right,
let's
yeah,
say.
yeah, no, of
Yeah.
course, of course. But yeah, no, I mean that really is what gave me the validation because um, I had two crew members, my wife and my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
They have never been on a film set before.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, two of my four actors had never acted before. Um,
How
and
many days did you shoot?
7 days.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, it was like 6 days, but yeah, we had like the third meeting. And Rupak, like, my Tanya, my wife was uh basically like the production manager. So she was like getting food and all that stuff. So really Rupak was kind of like he just flew in
Crew
from
member.
Chicago, and like I didn't have any time to like train him really, and he's like suddenly like the first day was very sloppy. It was a very funny progression. Like the first scene of the movie we shot, it was the first thing we shot and it was the last thing we shot. And it's very interesting to look at like because we evolved so much as like yeah, I don't know, like a wheel. We all became the right, understood our roles.
Yeah, yeah. That is actually, yeah. Keep going, sorry.
No, that's really it. It was just like such a
Yeah,
fun experience. And
crews are always like that, I feel like in terms of filmmaking. And one of the mistakes I always think about that I made on The Kitchen, which was a one location movie, was that we shot it chronologically. And the first day was the first like 10 minutes of the movie. The
Mm.
second day was the second 10 minute, give or take, But like, so it went like that. And that first day when everybody's like finding their sea legs. And I also had this like sort of approach where I was going to start everything static and have it get more and more handheld as the movie went on. So that
Yeah.
also didn't help, but the idea it was like all static and we were just like getting to know each other and figure out what this movie was. And so that first day was like by far, in my opinion, was like the worst or the toughest. And that was like the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, which like needs to be the best. That needs to be the strongest.
I,
And yeah, and that was such a challenge. We had to really like
so,
work around that in post. That was really like a big thing that we played with a lot.
so I'm kicking myself right now because I was script supervisor on that movie,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
uh, I don't know why I didn't think to consult you that
Yeah.
you had made a movie that took place in one location.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot the kitchen was like that just because there was so much to it. I don't know. It felt like
Yeah.
such a kind of it felt like a big production to me at the time. Maybe I hadn't done much from a crew perspective, and that's exactly the problem we had. Even with the fact that it was the first thing we shot and the last thing we shot, the cut that you
What does
saw.
that mean?
What's that?
What does that mean? First and last thing that you sh
I shot more or less chronologically, not completely, but like
Right.
relatively chronologically. So the first scene was the first thing we shot,
Yeah.
and by day 6 or 7, we had a little bit of time for like reshoot stuff.
Right.
And I was like, well, the first thing we shot was by far the weakest. I had no idea what I was doing. Like there was nobody
Yeah.
we figured out the boom mic wasn't working. Like all these things just started happening that we just like um yeah, it was really just, I was the only person with filmmaking experience. So, I was the cinematographer. I was the gaff. I was the gaffer, and like, sound was one thing. Like I had to cover all that. We had 4 lav mics. We had a boom. It was like trying to keep track of all this. So, a lot of these things I just, um, I don't, well, the one big thing was like the boom didn't work. So we didn't have a boom mic for like a couple days. And, uh,
Uh,
then we had to like get new XLR cords, but then I don't know. We had a lot of trouble with our boom mic, but luckily we had lavs the whole time as well. So, but also the way I shot the first scene, I was just like kind of panning. It was clear I had no idea how to shoot it, and
mm,
it felt off. And so the last day, me, Luke, the lead actor, and Tim, who plays Alan, and Chris, who plays Doug, who are all in that first scene. We
mm,
kind of like basically rewrote it, staged it, like completely changed it. So we
uh,
reshot it as the very last thing.
oh, cool. See, that's what I should have done. Yeah.
But despite that, in editing, the cut you saw, which is just the cut I edited on
Yeah.
my own, the thing that I could never figure out was the opening, and that has been a huge part of like trying to figure out um, what to how to like approach this with a new team. And we've
Yeah.
the editing team has like helped me rewrite a new opening. We've completely changed it. I've been shooting some B-roll, and we did
That's
yeah, we
This is the
basically
part
wrote.
of editing that I love, and this is why I'm drawn to editing is because it is this like the you know the possibilities are just endless with
Yes,
what you can do to a story and how you can manipulate it and and change
yes,
it and
and this is why
it's
we've
just really fun.
been
Yeah.
editing this for a year, because
Yeah.
it.
But part of it is like the less resources you have on the front end, the harder the post-production part is because you have to compensate for a lot of things. And so, when you have something very well planned, then sometimes that can,
Yes,
come together very quickly. Not always, though. Also
we
that,
had no slate, no time codes.
oh God,
Yeah, they,
I know.
they had
Gives me a lot of anxiety. Yeah.
a rough first few months. Um, I want to. So, do you have a little more time?
Yeah.
So, I've asked like the team to come up with some questions,
Okay.
because I wanted to make sure that people were able to ask questions that I might not have thought of.
Yeah.
Um, so Tanya, my wife,
Yeah.
asks. your sister-in-law. Was there
Yeah.
a moment you remember? She's also the producer on the
Yeah.
movie. Was there a moment you remember where it was clear that Avi had a talent for filmmaking?
Uh, I mean, it has to be where you had a talent for. It has to be with the acting stuff part of it. That was watching you act, at a very young age, being in. Well, first, my memory is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which you did on stage, and like had this like really what seemed at the time like this great performance for a show that um yeah, I don't know, just like this innate talent to pull off a performance, and then of course more famously in Wet Hot American Summer, where you like did this amazing role that felt so grown up and like big in this classic movie. Um, and I know it's like a small part, but it always stood out and is memorable. And so yeah, I would say it has to be tied with the acting part of it for me. It was like that's when I was like uh, uh, you have this ability to pull off a performance, which can come naturally to some people and doesn't to other people, and then of course in Big Bad Swim when you were in that too.
A quick aside is I remember
Yeah.
going to I took you to the Wet Hot American Summer premiere, and I remember us sitting there because we weren't sure where my scene was going to be,
Yeah.
and uh, it's toward the end of the movie, and I just didn't know like where it was. And I remember us like kind of looking at each other like scared that they cut me from the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just right. Yeah, I also to like add to that, like I don't think I knew my that I had a talent in filmmaking until this movie, and I feel very this movie gave me a lot of confidence. I think what I did do over the last 10 years was I had been doing a lot with this equipment that I have. I did a lot of stuff at Lehigh when I was working there, um,
Mhm.
where I was just shooting
And
a
you've
ton.
always
The,
you've always been filming things like even when you weren't like necessarily making a movie. I feel like everything you've done has been tethered, even when you're working at Google and stuff, like you're still doing stuff in
and
related to storytelling and filmmaking and
yeah, and like all those marketing videos I did at Google, like what I really did was like learned how to be kind of like a one man show. And so I had my giant duffel bag and I was shooting like, with this camera with like prime lenses and doing sound and lights, like all by myself. So what I really was learning over the last 10 years was just how to really quickly set up and manage like lighting, sound, camera, and like all that stuff more or less by myself. And so I kind of like was preparing for this movie for 10 years, really.
yeah,
That's how I feel. So I don't know that I don't know that I showed a clear talent for filmmaking, and hopefully this movie was the
yeah,
moment it does. Okay, so Steven, our lead editor,
yeah,
who you've met, and
yeah. He's great.
he's fantastic. He came on board as an apprentice editor, moved up to the assistant editor, and is now our lead editor. Like he has just continually
Yeah,
baffled
well,
me with
shout out, me. Yep.
he is incredibly his attention to detail is just like phenomenal. He says, growing up, who or what inspired you to keep pushing when you wanted to give up?
Hmm. I don't know exactly, but I think I was always, I think we were raised with, our mom's a writer, and I've watched her, tirelessly write every morning since I was young until today. Even this morning, she still writes every day, and I've always admired that dedication and hard work. I, I don't know exactly what fully drives me, except this belief that I just want to keep making things and creating things and telling stories and uh, and if I can get away making a living at it, then that's even better. But it's something I feel like I would do even if I wasn't like even if there was a moment where I was gonna maybe go to law school and pursue a different path. Like I think I still would kind of be doing some form of this, uh, just not professionally and not full time. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely had a feeling at a younger age more than now, but like where every few years you have to kind of like sort of metaphorically jump over a cliff and then, count on something count that you'll land on something, but in an effort to kind of move forward. So I would kind of challenge myself every few years to jump over a cliff over and over again to kind of like progress and move forward in the business and the industry and in my own abilities. So yeah, I don't know. I try to find things that keep challenging me. Also, like I try not to ever be too comfortable. That to me is the one. That's the one thing to watch out for, I think, is to, if you're starting to get too comfortable, either try to grow in that role or try to move on to something that's new or tougher that scares you.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to live like that to work in the film industry. Like I
Yeah.
remember when I started working at Google, I was like, oh, this exists. Like you can get a salary and health insurance and like not have to worry about the next get. Like it was mind blowing to me having like tried to
Yeah.
navigate the film industry and that uncertainty. But you've clearly found a way to like navigate that in a way that I
But
think very few people have.
there is like a, that's it's not for everybody in that because of that. Like and maybe it's because I started out very, very scrappy. And very like just in terms of like doing any odd job and doing whatever I could and it's always like you figure it out step by step, but like uh that prepared me, I think, for what like now, well, the entertainment industry is in this moment of flux. It's like I feel like I'm a little bit better suited to kind of roll with the insanity of having a job, losing a job, onto the next job, onto this job, and like kind of ping-ponging around where it can be very destabilizing and scary for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're
I
raising
mean, it
three.
is to me too sometimes, but yeah.
Well, you've
Yeah.
definitely. I know a lot of people who worked in the industry. I was out there, saw you know
Yeah.
a lot of people go down a different path, and you've
Yeah.
navigated that really well. Um,
Thanks.
Rupak,
Yeah.
Tanya's brother, my brother-in-law, asks, with your sibling also being, he's also a producer on the movie.
Yeah.
With your sibling also being in the creative field, has there been any collaborative or shared learning experiences that have influenced your work?
Um,
Talk about Ira Horowitz.
yeah, that's what I think about. It has to be Ira Horowitz, where we wrote the script together, and that was like a great process, and I really enjoyed that. And we should write more together.
Yeah. And we've like, yeah, I worked acting in Big Bad Swim, I was script supervisor
Yeah.
on Kitchen. We've worked together like a
Yeah,
little
you've always like been a part of the productions.
when I was
Yeah.
out in LA, like the even that the cat thing. You know,
Oh yeah.
Leany
Uh Bellini. I forget how we said it.
but we've always kind of did little things together. And I also add like, you're always the first person I'll send my writing to, and you're one of the few people who's just read everything I've done. But yeah, we absolutely should.
Fellini is how it was pronounced. It was a short film made for the Cat Dance Film Festival,
Yes.
sponsored by Fresh Step Kitty Litter.
Starring Little Lord
Thank you.
Fauntleroy,
My the late Little Lord Fauntleroy,
your,
our cat. Yeah.
your cat who was with you up until what, a few years ago, all the way
Yeah.
back to when you were in
About a year ago. 18. He was 18 when he passed about a year ago.
if anyone watching this uh, can find that online. If I don't know if it's still
I think it's on YouTube somewhere, I'm guessing.
on video. And the little
Yeah.
Lord is a very funny looking cat. Two more questions, both from Steven.
Okay. Okay.
What was the brother connection like growing up? Some of these we might have answered already.
Yeah.
Were you guys close? Did you fight a lot? Did this help push you guys into creating films?
Uh-huh.
Uh, I don't remember us ever having like a contentious relationship at all.
No.
Um,
Yeah, no, I think it was very
yeah.
maybe typical Big Brother thing, except instead of like, I don't know, wasn't like sports or whatever, it was movies. And
Yeah, I think if anything,
uh,
just like the age gap made it a little hard
right,
for us to bond. Like when I was in like high school, which would have been in like if you were in the house
I was
then.
like out of college. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, did you want to say more?
But yeah, I don't. I was just thinking about from growing up here in the Lehigh Valley in Allentown. That's where we grew up, and um, I was always like trying to see like those I said before, like those independent films, and it was always like figuring out what theaters might show these movies. And I do seem to remember like going to the 19th Street Theater or going or driving all the way to Doylestown to go see something, or to I
Those
remember
films-
it dragging some friends to go see Trainspotting at East Stroudsburg University Theater, which was showing it. And that was like really pretty remote. But yeah, it was I don't know. I think about that as like something we did together, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing I don't know, maybe Happiness, Todd Solondz movie. I don't know. We went to Doylestown a lot,
That
and
has to be later.
to articulate, this is like a theater that is very tiny, and it was like 45 minutes, maybe an hour away from us.
Yeah,
And for some reason at the time it was like it just happened. It was the only place that showed like artsy.
they had great movies. The County Theater.
And then like I think I don't know if I like the way that I think about this is because I remember that with you, but then when you were out of the house, that was like when I feel like Carmike opened, and all of a
Mm,
sudden there were no longer 8 screen theaters here. There were 16 screens, and I think
yeah,
the
yeah,
new one even had like 32 or something. And that was like when like Clerks, black
yeah.
and white, like handheld movie was playing, in a theater next to whatever the 50
Big
million
movie.
dollar movies
Yeah,
were. It was like that was crazy to think about. And like I saw Punch Drunk Love, I remember, and although I guess Paul Thomas Anderson was more established at the time, but
yeah,
I remember seeing that in the theater, and in a big theater, and everybody thinking it was going to be an Adam Sandler movie. And
yeah,
like I think there was a time where we would have had to drive to Doylestown to go see that.
yeah.
There was a time where these theaters kept expanding, and not to go back to like the conversation we were talking about, but I think it was nice that we had that Doylestown time, because it's like a little foggy for me, because I really remember when like these indie movies were very accessible and presented
Yeah.
alongside the big movies. You
Yeah.
didn't have
No.
this,
Yeah, my memory was like, yeah, it was work to try to find them a little bit, in the beginning. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, last question.
Okay.
Name the top 3 films that don't get the recognition they deserved based on their editing.
Based on their editing.
The second part of this question, which is also name a sequence or edit of your own when you look back at it that impressed you.
God. All right. Three underrated editing. See, it's hard to judge because things that are to me, it's the things you watch that you aren't thinking about the edit at all that are probably secretly the best editing because you're just lost in the story and you're not drawing attention to the edit. So what always wins like the awards and is kind of the most fun to cut are like musicals. And I've worked on a lot of musicals and that stuff is really fun to do. Music videos, like that stuff where the music drives the story and moves it forward, and that's always fun. So those things are the kind of the flashiest. It's Whiplash. It's Chicago, La La Land, whatever, things like that are just beautifully cut, but the you notice the editing. Um,
Can I,
uh, yeah,
one quick aside
yeah,
that touches into all this that we've been talking about is Butcher and the Housewife.
yeah,
You wrote that,
yeah. That was my thesis film at NYU, which was a musical.
which I
Yeah,
acted in, and
yeah, yes.
it was
That's right.
an amazing movie, a supermarket musical that took place in a supermarket. Uh, you should write more. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I was just thinking
I
about
know. I like it. Yeah,
I
that's the music of the Scorpions. Yeah,
yeah, like that was such a great movie. It was so much fun. And then another thing we worked together on, and I remember just like being at the A Hart's Market overnight, and
yeah.
yeah, it was like that should be made available somewhere. It's a really really good short film that you
There
made.
is a, I think it is available somewhere, but it is very, very, very low quality. It is like ripped off a DVD, and I can't find like any other master of it, sadly. Uh,
But I just want to say,
but
like,
it's out there.
having while watching you like direct and edit, like I look back at that and I'm like, that was you were very much an auteur on that project,
Oh,
and
yeah.
uh, I would like to see more of that, which I will end with this.
I'm
That
just looking. I'm no, I'm looking for my. I'm looking at my letterboxed to
okay,
see what my underrated
yes, go for it.
movies might be. Uh, what did I think? One thing I just watched recently, and it's not. I don't think it's underrated. It probably even won the Oscar for like best editing. But Out of Sight, I just rewatched the Steven Soderbergh movie, which he cut, I think, and is told out of story. It is like it told out of sequence rather, and the uh uh it is uses it's a little like draws attention to the editing because it uses freeze frames a lot and um but I just love the editing of that movie. It is like smart and sexy and cool, and it's just the music with the mood with the way that they cut that movie, great, like the best freeze frames, the best dissolves, the best stuff like that. It's
George
really well
Clooney and
cut.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yep, yep.
I don't remember. I remember like the poster. I
Oh, it's so good.
I've seen it. I will have to watch it. You have two
uh,
others.
oh no. uh Uh, I don't know what Hard Truths. I don't know if you saw that one, the Mike Lee movie that came out last year. It was so emotional, so beautiful. Absolutely love that movie, and that was like 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 not flashy cutting at all, but like just a great movie, beautiful performance. Uh, and I don't know, I saw F1 recently, and that was like talk about like blockbuster, fun, energetic, excitement, loud. That's flashy, but it was great. There
I love Mike Lee. I didn't even know he's like still making movies. I need to see that.
Yeah.
And I have not seen F1, but Tim, uh, the actor who plays Alan, messaged me after he saw it and said that I look like the actor who plays the villain in the movie.
Oh, really?
I forget the actor's name, but I looked it up and he does look like I do look like him a little bit. Similar face. Uh,
Yeah.
and can you name a sequence or edit of your own when you look at back at it that impressed you? Maybe another way
Uh,
to phrase is like, when
I'll
did
talk
you?
about
Yeah.
I'll talk about this movie Purple Hearts that I edited for Netflix. The first cut that we had of that movie was about 4 hours long, um, which is crazy because it's like a romantic musical movie. And yeah, that working with that director with Liz Allen, who is great, and I've learned so much from, like, just figuring out how to basically cut the movie in half and still tell the story was uh like just an amazing experience, and that's when I talk about like stretching like what you can do in editorial, like that was like quintessential, like how do we really like get to the essence of every scene and every story of the whole story and stuff. So that was a really
How much of it is like meditation and like kind of deep diving versus just trial and error and just hacking consistently, and or like brainstorming with Liz or whoever else is
mix.
involved?
It's a mix. Like, yes, you can go down a road of like just hacking and then a lot of times that doesn't totally work. I need my like afternoon walk or whatever where you like you get the problem, get it in your head, go for a walk, go for a hike, whatever, like
You
clear
hike
your head, but
every
like
morning.
while you process, while you're trying to think about how to solve that problem, and then you come back and then you can try a few things and yeah,
You still hike every morning, right? You've been doing that for years.
yeah,
Is that like an integral part to your work?
totally. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I need that like processing time to like you know, like right now I've been working on a sequence for Landman, this show for Taylor Sheridan, and like I've got this kind of complicated barge sequence and I'm like trying to figure out how to do it. And so I could sleep on it. I could go for a walk this morning. I'm like, okay, I think I know how to approach it this morning. Because otherwise, sometimes you're just staring at it's like the blank page. Like, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
I need a little bit of like just a plan, a little bit of a plan. Yeah.
Um, well, I have one last question for you, unless there's anything else
Okay.
you wanted to talk
Yeah.
about. Um, I want to end on the butcher and the housewife.
Okay.
To me, that was I feel like your voice.
Yeah.
And do you I guess I'm gonna tie that into like you know maybe what I you your writing is really good and I part of this is me saying like I want to see you do but something like Butcher and the Housewife now. Uh
Yeah.
so maybe that's not a question, but
Yeah. Well,
I'm
thank you. Yes, I would love to. I need to get back to it. I think I like had that like writing bug for a while and then actually it was like COVID kind of like killed it a little and I stopped writing a lot during that time. Um, but I need to pick it back up again. I
so
know that.
maybe the question is, so what's next for you in your career?
Uh, yeah, I've been working on a couple like feature projects. One with our mother that she wrote a script and based on one of her books uh
It's
and
fun.
working on sort of a another like project potentially. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just working on some feature projects, and yeah.
Yeah, is it Zigzag Girl? We can promote.
No,
Oh, it's a
no,
different. Oh, I
no,
I
that's
know what it
different.
is.
But yes, but she does have a book called Zigzag Girl coming out in
Yes.
October, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, do you want to talk about anything that you're working?
Yeah, Landman is coming out in November, I think. Season two. I did season one. And another show called The Madison. That's the one I did some second unit on, and I edited. That's also, I think, coming out in November. I'm not sure. Um,
Yeah. For those watching this, just look up Ishai's IMDb. I mean, he's edited a ton of stuff. I mean, Purple Hearts wasn't it like one of the most watched movies on Netflix like ever or something.
yeah, when it came out, it surprised us all that yeah, it was number seven of all time when it came out. I think it's since been pushed down by
Yeah. But you've
yeah,
edited like just a dozen huge TV shows. Uh, Sneakerella,
yeah,
Tanya and I watched, and editing was fantastic. You've just worked in like every genre, every movies, TV. You've kind of done it all, and I know that you love editing, but I think you love directing more, and
yeah.
I hope that we get to see you directing soon.
Thank you, and I'm excited to see this movie. Congratulations on it.
Thank you for helping.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
You've like really been a huge help to like the editing team and giving it like, you know, we're a very scrappy team and uh you know,
They're great.
nobody had any experience really with filmmaking. You were vital in basically giving some like uh validity to it to be like, hey, there is someone with experience here that we can like who can advise us and we can consult
Yeah,
in. And I know
yeah.
that Steven, Julia, our lead editor and co-editor were like uh they look up to you a lot and I know that you are going to continue to the end with giving just really solid advice. And I'm sure the movie is not, gonna, I'm sure the movie could not get to where it's going to get without you being a part of the process.
Thanks. Thanks. It's a good team you got there, and yeah, I'm excited what they do. See what they do.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Ish.
Of course.
We'll
I'll
see
see
you.
you later, I guess.
We are
All
filming
right.
this. Ish is in Pennsylvania visiting.
Yeah,
So,
I'm in Pennsylvania in my mom's office. That's why she walked in earlier. And this
um,
is not my collection of things.
well, that was awesome, Ish. Thanks so much.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.
Yep. Bye.